Cryo characters are getting a massive buff with the new artifact set in 1.2, to the point where they might be some of the best characters in the game, especially Xiong Yun. He might actually hit 5-star status similar to Razor with the new set, so you should be very excited. But before we get into that, a quick word from my sponsor. This video is sponsored by Shadowverse and their brand new Storm Over Reveal DLC. This is a card pack with 97 new cards and a new maneuver mechanic where you can place out a unit and combo with another one to attack. It's actually pretty sweet. If you want to master 8 different characters, if you want to collect 15 cards, if you want to master your strategy and battle other people, Shadowverse is for you. The new card pack is out right now. It's actually been out since September. So if you want some waifu, you want some husbando, you gotta get in here and try out Shadowverse. It is a great strategy game, and if you click the link down below, you can really help out the Tashman. The more downloads we get, the more the Tashman gets sponsored, boys! Download Shadowverse today, jump in for free, and enjoy yourself. It's a great game if you like strategy and card games, and that's pretty much it for me. Shadowverse, thank you so much for sponsoring. Now click the link down below, gamers! I need this! Fire characters have dominated Genshin Impact since the start. Melt gives you a 2 times multiplier on frozen enemies. And being able to use Melt all the time on the last floor of the Spiral Abyss makes them very good pickups. The Ice Fatui enemies, you need a fire character for that, so if you've got a Diluc, if you've got Xiangling, they're always going to be a great choice. And then you throw in Bennett, who's a great healer and can take out those frost shields. Fire characters have been great, and there's no changing that. But I think there is going to be a little bit of shift in the meta, or at least more options. Instead of everyone saying, I need Diluc, that's the only way I'm going to beat the Spiral Abyss, I think that some of the Frost characters, some of the Cryo characters, are going to start being much better with the new artifacts in 1.2. To the point where they have the potential to keep up or even outscale the fire characters, and I want to explain why. Now, this increased attack percentage is very popular among players, but it's not as good as people might think. It says that it increases your attack by 25%, but it doesn't increase your attack by 25% of your total attack. It's only of your base attack. So all of your artifacts, like your feather that can give 300 plus attack value, that isn't being taken into account with this calculation. It is only your weapon stats and your character stats. Now this is still great, and in the case of my Razor, it gives me like 175 extra attack almost. And that's awesome. That's a great amount of attack. But if you look at the Cryo set, it's very, very strong. Now, if you really wanted to, you could get both of them, but I don't know if you're going to fully do that. But with the Shattering Ice, it increases your crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by Cryo by 15%. That is a lot of damage. And if you are running 2 Cryo characters, and maybe you throw in someone like a Xingqiu or Xingqiu, or if you're throwing in a Barbara, you can keep enemies permanently frozen. But even if you don't, with Xiong Yun, when you put this down, every attack is applying Cryo. So anytime this ability is up, you're going to have 15% more crit. With a downtime of like maybe 2 seconds, because if you have this constellation, it's hitting again. So for me, it's like 2 seconds. For the average person, it's like 4 seconds. But then you could throw in Diona and throw in hers, and you would have 100% uptime of 15% crit. Now, the thing about crit is every character has some base crit, I think it's 5%, but on top of that, they have base crit damage of about 50%, right? And so that is some good value right there. And then you start throwing in some artifacts, and things are going to start getting really nutty. Thank you, World of Teyvat, for this image. I just Googled it, but you're going to get a cryo damage bonus from the new set in 1.2 of 15%. Now, this is fantastic because Xiong Yun, for example, he gets base attack or attack percentage when he levels up and ascends. And so he doesn't have cryo damage built into his kit. You typically would need a cup to get any extra cryo damage, and so this is great to have built in case you don't have a cryo cup. But you should be hunting for a cryo cup Absolutely. But on top of this, when a character attacks an enemy affected by cryo, their crit rate is increased by 20%. So if you have 2 cryo characters and you now have this, you've got 35% base crit just from the elemental resonance and from this. But because you get 5% built in your kit, I'm pretty sure every character has 5% built in, you would have a 40% crit rate with no substats or artifacts affecting you. Other than, like, obviously other than this. But then on top of this, if they are frozen, the crit rate is then increased by an additional 20%. You're going to have 60% crit rate without needing any crit rolls on your gear. That is busted. Now, if you look at a maxed out purple helmet, I'm getting a 23% crit rate. So we're going to have almost triple that built into the kit already, which is insanity. And because you already have base crit damage, that's going to be very powerful. But then you could stack crit damage, which scales really hard. In the case of this blue mask, I'm getting 30% crit damage. Well, what happens if you have a golden mask or helmet or whatever that has crit damage? Do you want to know how much you get? 62.2%. 62% is what you're going to get on this thing. And if you look at the artifact details, I'm getting like 90% percentage from these artifacts, and I'm getting 16%. And if you look at my overall on Klee, I'm at 50% and 140. You would have more than this against frozen enemies built into the kit. Are you kidding me? And here's where things just get stupid. I did a whole video on the elemental bonus on cups and why it's so important. Whatever your damage is, if you're hitting with that element, these cups will then boost it by 34.8%. And I think it's like 46% on a golden cup, right? And so, yes, you could get some attack percentage, but again, attack percentage is peanuts compared to this boost in damage. But then when you crit, that is on top of this. Crit is the final multiplier, the final piece of the puzzle. If you crit, in the case of Klee, I would do 140% more damage than I would have. And so if you can crit all the time because you've got 50, 60, 70% crit rate, you're multiplying all of your damage every single time you do by a minimum of 50%. A minimum of 50%. And so with the new cryo sets, you are getting potentially a base of like 60% crit and a base of 60% crit damage. And this is really going to scale like crazy, and this is going to be super powerful. Someone like Xiong Yun with this set will become a top tier DPS, especially if you have multiple constellations. But what about someone like Kaya? In the case of Kaya, with just his first constellation, he gets a 15% crit rate built into his kit. He could become a basic attack monster that crits literally every hit. He would have like a 75% crit rate. And I understand, okay, maybe Kaya's not your favorite character, but that is undisputably an extremely powerful thing. Chi-Chi as well. If you've got Chi-Chi, yeah, she's more of a healer. In my opinion, I wouldn't be putting her, I wouldn't be putting the cryo artifacts on her. I would put the healing artifacts on her. But she's still going to get crit built into her kit because you're going to use Chi-Chi with another cryo character. You could use Chi-Chi and you could use Kaya. Or you could use Diona and you could use Kaya. You could get this very, very easily. And if you do have Xiong Yun, you've got other combinations there. And I think that this is going to be super, super powerful overall. Now, if I was going to be using that set and I was trying to build a cracked team, I think Xiong Yun is the best pick, and I would say that Xiong Yun is probably the only way to make this completely meta, top-tier DPS. And I'm going to explain why. Xiong Yun uses a Claymore, and when there is an enemy who is frozen and you hit them, you're going to produce a Shatter, which I'll show you right now. So when you attack a frozen enemy, you're going to shatter them with your Claymore. And this is going to give you a boost of physical damage when you do it. It's going to be a white hit of damage. So I'm going to hit him with that. He's going to be frozen, and another hit is going to shatter. And did you see that extra hit there? That wasn't the Debate Club. That was the shatter damage proccing. And so between the crit rate of the artifacts, and this shatter damage, it was already good. The shatter damage was already great, and this crit rate was already good. But we've now extended it up to like 40% more crit rate. And so what you're going to end up happening is you're going to be very safe because you're going to be freezing everything in your path, and then you're going to be critting on them like crazy. And so what I would want you to do optimally would be, if you're using someone like Xiong Yun, unfortunately, I don't have all the artifacts he's going to need, but you would want to cup with cryo damage, not attack percentage. You would want to stack the cryo damage on your cup. And also, if you are planning on doing this, I would start looking for a crit damage like helmet. I have a couple, and even a blue 30% crit damage here is going to be pretty cool. I don't think that you would need to have a Berserker set for the extra crit at this time. I really don't think so. You would want to go for the Cryo set and just double down on that and get as much crit damage as you can. If you've got crit damage substats, that's great. Sure, energy recharge is cool. But if you can, I would look for any items that have crit damage on it, and you would want that over anything else. Even attack percentage, you would want something with crit damage over it. Even if there was some other lower stats, you'd probably want the crit damage because of how frequently you're going to be doing it. And that's pretty much it. I think that Cryo is about to become incredible, specifically Xiong Yun. I think he's going to be like 5-star quality. If you have like a max constellation like I do on this account, I'm so excited. It's going to be so insane. Because when I'm hitting with my ults, we're going to have a bigger chance of critting. When I'm hitting with my E, bigger chances of critting. When I'm basic attacking and getting 288% of my attack value on the last hit of a combo, and that thing crits, the damage is going to be insanity. So I think Xingqiu, very, very good. I would recommend Xingqiu with Xiong Yun. But Diona is a fantastic healer as well. I would go with the double cryo for sure. I would really min-max and use the crit right there. And so I would use Diona as a healer. If you don't have Diona, you could use our girl Qiqi. And if you don't have Qiqi, here's what you would do. You would actually go Barbara. Go to Barbara. Switch out Xiangling for our boy Kaya. And this team is cracked and, like, impossible to die. You're going to be freezing everything constantly. You're going to get bonus healing. And this could be a very, very cool one, too. Enemies are going to be pretty much permanently frozen with this comp. And it's going to allow you to get those 40% crit boosts from the artifacts that is going to really boost your DPS. So there's multiple combinations here. I personally really enjoy using Diona because she's got some shields and she's really safe. So if you have Diona, I would recommend using her. And I mean, I say use Qiqi if you have her, but I know not everyone has a 5-star. So anything like this is going to be good. I mean, this might be a little too much, too much freezing, but you could throw in another water character. If you wanted to go like this, you could do that as well. You could go like this and throw in a fire character if you wanted, and then you can get some melt going on and cover multiple different elements. So there's multiple ways you can build it, but I just wanted to give some ideas before I ended the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.